That Kurtz.
Flat-brimmed cap.
It was usually bloods and craze.
You're watching The Hammer.
Hey! Thanks for stopping by The Hammer here. Clay Link alongside Hans Hagge. Welcome back. Clay, we got a new look. I got a haircut, you got a haircut. We're gelling our hair now. 21-year-old UWMC student Jonathan Zink claims to be the father of Brett Favre's grandchild born this April. The sparkling 7-pound, 7-ounce son of Brittany Favre, named Parker Brett, was born into a vicious cloud of controversy over who the real baby daddy is. According to Zink, "I am the father of that child, there's no doubt in my mind," he stated to the forum. He claims to have met Favre at a 2005 Packer home game and that they have continued their relationship until about 9 months ago. A total lack of acknowledgement to this story was made clear when the forum reached out to the Favre family for comment. In typical Mississippi flair, Favre's agent Buzz Cook said, "Everything will be made clear in a couple months." She hasn't made up her mind yet. Clay?
3 years ago, Brian Fernandez, an up-and-coming dancer from Abbotsford, Wisconsin, auditioned for a spot on Britney Spears' 2006 Tricycles tour and made the cut as a substitute backup dancer. It was the biggest feat in Brian's life, but 3 years later, Brian has an all-new snake on life. "Our dance crew got really close to her and her kids, especially through the trauma," Fernandez told the forum. During the court battle for custody and even the infamous haircut, Fernandez was by her side. The judge awarded the kids to Federline and deemed Spears mentally incapable of owning animals. It wasn't the dogs, cats, hamsters, ponies, horses, beavers, or hogs that Spears would miss. It was her constant companion, the 7-foot boa constrictor she wrapped around her neck at the 2001 MTV Video Music Awards. When Spears checked herself into rehab in 2007, she asked Fernandez to take care of things at home. Coming out of rehab a new person, Spears quickly lost touch with Fernandez and her snake. "She never called me back," he said. "I don't even know if I'd answer that call if she did." After the tour was canceled, a heartbroken Fernandez moved back to Wausau to be closer to his family. Fernandez soon adopted the nickname Snake Man in Wausau, as he would regularly stroll around with the famous amphibian. When forum photographers saw him crossing the Scott Street Bridge last month, they asked his friend John Baby Tyler if he kept the snake for media attention or love. Tyler answered emphatically, "My friend Brian takes better care of that snake than Brittany took care of her kids or marriage." If you see Brian's Snake Man Fernandez, you'll know you've seen him, and will quickly flash back to the memories of Spears' erotic 2001 VMA performance. "I don't mind people petting my snake," said Fernandez, "but Yellow and I have moved on." Hans?
How would you feel if you applied to Taco Bell 7 times and never received a call back? You have no felonies, just a 3-week stint in Marathon County Jail for misdemeanor assault, something you got over a long time ago. This is the case of Gunnar Husselberg.
When I was booked, I realized the first day that I had to show my allegiance. To get in, they gave me 2 choices, either shank a prisoner from a rival gang or have a swastika tattooed on my forehead. I've always been a peaceful person, man, so I chose the tattoo.
Although the tattoo helped him survive the dark and roughening 3 weeks, upon his release, Husselberg realized the burden he would carry back to society.
You know, I made some great friends, but we've lost touch over the past couple of weeks. Just because you have a swastika tattooed on your forehead doesn't mean you're a violent person anymore.
Huselberg wants to again become an accepted member of society and hopes to break down the over 70-year wall of prejudice towards the Nazi people.
It took me 7 interviews at Taco Bell just to realize that my qualified application, hairstyle, and strong character were all erroneous due to the fact that I had prison ink on my forehead, forever branded into my mental and physical psyche.
Tearing up during the interview, Huselberg said he aspires to unite others with VTHs, visible tattoos of hate, and wants to rally them all the way to Washington, D.C. Their campaign is focused on enacting a federal law requiring all job interviews to be done through a thin wall or curtain, preventing any stereotype of any kind, including race, gender, sexual preference, social status, and most importantly to Huselberg and his clan, VTHs. If they can pass healthcare, we can put VTH discrimination in the past, said Huselberg's wife Helen, who received a VTH 2 weeks after meeting her soulmate. Gunnar and I know we're up for a fight, but really, we're all in this together. Pretty soon I'm going to be sending my partner Clay Link across the river, the Wisconsin River, to the other side of town, where an up-and-coming author will be talking about her book, A Banquet of Consequences, by Nancy Walters Smith. The story taking place in Ohio during the Great Depression tells the story of the author's mother in a very vivid way. We're going to find out who she is, why she wrote the story, and what Clay has in common with her.
Hey Hans, Clay here. Outside of the home of Wassa author Nancy Smith, who just so happens to be my grandmother. Let's get inside. Gampsy!
Hi. So good to see you.
Now Gampsy, your book, A Banquet of Consequences, loosely based off of your parents' lives, the main character being your mother. Tell us a little bit about your mother and why you named the book A Banquet of Consequences.
Well, growing up in this devastatingly insane family, I mean, my mother was totally out of control, and my dad was so much in love with her he couldn't handle her. I started asking him at age 10, why did you marry her? And his answer always was, you didn't know her. She wasn't always like she is now. And I determined as a teenager that in order to ever understand it, I was going to have to write it down and see if I could gain some insight that way. But after all those years, I don't have any more understanding than I did then, because that's just what life does to youthful dreams.
I was reading the book and at one point saw my name pop up. I mean, I'm sure you know. Why did you choose to name the rapist character after your grandson?
Well, that's a good question. You know, when you're writing, you get so caught up in describing a character. And this was a real character. And he has living relatives. I was afraid if I used his name, they would be offended. And then I thought, well, Clay is a name that is common in the mountains of Kentucky. And McIntosh is one of my mother's family's names. So I just picked it, never thinking it was going to stick with you.
That's true. Well, you may think I'm a little biased, but A Banquet of Consequences is a must-read. Clay Link for the Hammer News. Thanks to my Gampsy, Nancy Walters Smith. See ya. Bye now.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for the honor of being sent out for the news story. My grandma's a very gracious woman, and I'm about halfway through the book, and I can tell you she's a great author, too. So join us at Yankees Bookstore April 17th from 11 to 2. She's going to be signing books. You can come pick up your copy. Join us for a great time.
Yep. See you downtown for some coffee and some donuts at Yankees Bookstore.
For the Hammer, I'm Clay Link signing off.
I'm Hans Hagee. See you next
See you
week.
next week.
Thanks, Glenn.
Grandma says she loves you, baby.